Entonces, tengo querido convencer a Jeff que me hiciera una entrevista, y por la amistad que tiene conmigo, ha sido la entrevista. La entrevista hace poco hicimos una entrevista con Dick Fair y la hicimos en inglés, pero yo estaba traduciendo, y lo que pasaba que se interrumpía el flujo de la entrevista. Entonces la vamos a hacer en inglés, y la siguiente semana tenemos la cámara profesional que vamos a volver a transmitir la siguiente semana con subtítulos. Y ahorita vamos a hacer una entrevista también con el señor Alejandro Guerrero, que es su socio aquí en México. Ese sí va a ser en español. Entonces ahorita vamos a empezar con la entrevista de Jeff Hudspeth. Jeff tiene una trayectoria de más de 25 años de gallero. Entonces, lo vamos a hacer en inglés ahorita. Entonces, van a traer las preguntas que ustedes, los clientes, nos hicieron el favor de preguntar. Jeff, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
I've been begging you for this interview for years and years and years. Thank you for accepting us.
It's a pleasure.
When was the first time you had a chicken in your hands?
I was 19, so that was 20, about 35 years ago.
35 years ago?
Yeah. Actually, when I started raising chickens, it's been about 1985.
Wow. Who gave you your first chicken?
It was a neighbor of mine. His name was Johnny Money. He has passed away now, but that's where I got the first chickens. And he was a local breeder, a small town breeder.
What kind of chickens were they?
They were the chickens he got from a guy up north called Narragansett. They were yellow-legged, short-heeled type of chickens. So I would go down there and help and work around his farm and go with him, and you know, I fell in love with the meat. So,
right away.
Yeah. And from there, I just kept working and working and going as much as I could.
I remember when I first met you, a couple months after I met you, you called me, or like a year after I met you, you called me, and you go, "Hey Victor, I got this new breed." And I go, "What are they?" Well, they're called sweaters. And you told me, "Well, how are they?" He goes, "Well, they're real pretty, and they look real good when they lose."
Yeah. They got a lot of ability, you know. So many people raise sweaters. All of them are not good ones.
Yeah.
And some of them get a bad rap, I think, because there's so many of them being raised. And then some of you good breeders, they got good ones that do good. You know, breeders got a lot to do with it, and the health.
Right. So the health is the most important thing. Okay. I remember one time I went to go see Brian Corcoran, and went to buy some carry stalls from a white guy, and he had 200 hens running loose. And I go, "Are they pure?" And he goes, "No, they're all crossed, 2 to 3 week, 4-week crosses." I go, "What do you want them for?" "Oh, all the local breeders here, and I'm coming by for $25 and selling these trios, sweater trios, you know." Right when the sweater craze was going on.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of people see lemon aqua yellow-legged chickens, and they relate them to the sweaters. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of the Kelso chickens and sweater chickens, I think all of them's got a lot of sweater with them.
In them?
I think so. But a lot of them look just alike. When you see Kelso chickens, lemon aqua, they say, well, they're Kelso. They're very similar to the sweater chickens. So I think it's an influence of the sweater going on.
Okay. No, no te you have how many breeds right now?
6.
6 breeds. Which are
The leapers, the sweaters, the kelso, the roundheads, the blacks, and the greys.
Starting with your which is the oldest one you have?
The what?
Your oldest line you've had.
The leapers and the kelso I've had the longest.
Leapers and Kelsos?
And then the greys.
And your Kelsos come from Jumper, right? What do you like best about your Greys? I mean, your Kelsos.
They're very accurate. And one thing I look for in selecting brood fowl is balance. They got good balance. I look at the rooster like I would look at a boxer. He's got to hit and move.
Okay.
You can't be hit and stand still. You got to hit and move. So if they got good balance and they got a little smartness to them, I think that's 2.
They all go back on their feet, right? They turn around good and everything.
Yeah, well, they hit, they get out of the way, hit, get out of the way. Don't hit, just stand there. And wait to see what the other one's going to do. You know.
A lot of times you'll see a rooster that he sees the other rooster and he's not standing in front of him, he won't hit him, you know?
Yeah. You won't be, some chickens, like the Oriental does, they do a lot of sidestepping and things like that. But main thing is you got to be accurate. They're good cutters. You got to have that happen.
So your Kelsos, they're smart?
They're aggressive.
Aggressive?
Yeah, very aggressive and very good on the ground, hitting back into one.
Okay.
And they're very accurate.
So are they smart too, or just more aggressive?
So I'd call them sort of in between, because sometimes they get too aggressive.
Okay.
That's the reason I like to breed them to the roundheads, the sweaters, the leapers. And, you know.
Back from down a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay. But they're real game, you said, right?
Yeah.
Do they come lemon hack or dark?
Mostly lemon hackle. I get a few medium colored red ones, but the majority of them are light colored.
Pico?
Straight cone.
They're all 100%?
98%.
Okay. You said you added some blood to them like years ago? I mean, we were talking about it on the way here, how when you have a line for such a long time, you have to add something to it, you know, to keep it fresh.
You know, Carol told me one time, and Carol helped me a lot when I was coming up. He says, when you quit looking for good chickens, he said, it ain't gonna be long, you're gonna be out of chickens. And I think what he meant, chickens can only get so good. And then they can come down just as fast as they went up. If you breed the wrong rooster, they get inbred too much.
Right.
You know, a lot of things can help. You breed a very unhealthy chicken, rooster, or cock that throws unhealthy chickens. A lot of things can come into play. So you sort of, at some point, it's a good idea, I think, to freshen them up. I'll breed some blood in, then breed it out.
Okay.
You got to be your own judge of that. As long as they're competing and you're getting what you're looking for, then stick with it. But at some point, if they don't, you may have to freshen them up.
Okay. I think, you've been doing it for 25 years, so, and you've always sold to the best teams here in Mexico. You sold to Parral, Chihuahua for how many years?
So a long time.
And they were, you know,
Eduardo.
the top, the Eduardo from Vaquero too, you know, they were the top teams. They were Cocker of the Years here for, you know, probably between both of them, 15 years.
Yeah. And even now, most of what I raise is just brood fowl. I raise all the chickens that we sell for the trios and the brood fowl. And I ship them from U.S., Vietnam, Guam, Philippines, and the majority of them go to Mexico though.
But you think though, you've always been known for your honesty, Jeff. And you have a lot of breeders, like I said, those breeders in Alabama that will buy $25 hens and sell them as, you know, you can only do that. It's just saying you can shear a cat. You can shear a lamb a dozen times to get them skin once, you know?
Yeah. Well, you got to know the breeder. If I'm going to acquire some new bloodlines from somebody, it's going to be somebody I know really well.
Right.
And I have a lot of really good friends that are good breeders. So
Who do you look up to as a breeder?
I always looked up to Jumper, Johnny. I mean, I liked the way Johnny was a good chicken man, but he could deal with people very well.
Great personality.
I mean, he was great with dealing with his customers. You know, Gene Baudier, I've known him for a long time. He's a good friend of mine. He's helped me some a lot, really. Carol E. Smith, you know, Carol let me travel. First time I came to Mexico, I came with Carol.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, you take Carol, you take Dink Fire, Larry Romero. There's a lot of good breeders out there.
I want to ask you a question that I asked Dink Fair. I went to go see him a couple of months ago, and I had met him a couple of times in person, but I have a lot of respect for Dink now after I talked to him. Real smart breeder. And I asked him, what's better, gameness or cut? What do you think?
In this style cutting,
Cutting?
well, you got either you're going to Mexico or you're going to the Philippines.
Right.
There's a time limit. There's a 10-minute time limit, most of these places.
Right.
So you can't go back there 30 minutes and figure on winning a derby.
Yeah.
You know, it takes both, but you gotta have cutting, because you're not gonna beat them to death with
Yeah, it's not like, before where you used to, a 3-hour drag for
Yeah.
now it's...
It depends on what you want to use them for and where you're going, what you try to achieve when you're raising your crosses.
Right. Do you when you cross, do you like crossing speed with power, or how do you, how do you recommend somebody, doing that?
Well, I think some people get confused with power. They see a rooster that gets set, and once he gets set, he can hit harder, but he's took him longer to get set, and then he hits like it real hard. Then he stops and he's standing right in front of one.
Right.
So if they can move and hit, they're not going to have hardly as much hitting power because they're hitting and moving. You got to have a certain amount of power with a certain amount of accuracy.
Right.
And that's what you try to breed, and just hope it works out.
But do you breed power to,
Yeah, I do that.
power to speed, or?
Yeah, before I said, just really with power roosters, the regular grays, they got really good bottom, but they're also kind of slow and kind of got to get set.
And when you put their sweater to
the like ring
round
sweater, the round head, the kelso, stuff.
to speed up a little bit.
The gray chickens are good for gameness, and they're really good for health, and that really helps the sweaters. I think the people's got the better sweaters, got the healthier ones.
Yeah.
My opinion.
The best teams here I've seen, like Para Chihuahua, I see his where he starts winning and losing, and when he's losing it's because when they get unhealthy.
Yeah, it's
And that's the most important thing is the health. Even in the States too. It's most important.
the healthier you are, the better they'll be.
Yeah. Even in the Philippines, you see a lot. The best teams are the ones having the healthiest chickens.
And I think even here in Mexico and the Philippines, that the knowledge of raising chickens is really improved. And I think it's because they're doing a good job vaccinating them,
Yeah.
and they got a better quality feed. The feed I see is a lot better than it used to be down here.
Okay. Who right now do you see teams here in Mexico that you like?
I don't know. I see, it's just like the certain one will get some good roosters that they cut good and do really well with, and then it seems like they'll get some, and no matter what they do, they just don't score very well. And I think a lot of that's got to do with the health. I only go to the intercontinental ones, but the part I know, Danielle, he's always done good.
It's Daniel's smart. He's
Yeah.
he's one of the smartest teams I've owner of the teams I've met.
Yeah, I noticed with Danielle, when he's around, they always seem to perform better.
Yeah. Well, I was saying the other day, like it's you have one what?
One what?
How many kids do you have? One boy?
One kid.
One kid. You have a certain love for your boy that nobody else has. Not even your brothers, your cousins. Same with the business, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I have certain love for my business. My workers don't have the same love. You know, they can like it. You know, but it's just that's the way it is. You know. Your Leapers, where do they come from?
They came from a local breeder. Actually, I got them through a couple different people, but they originated from a local breeder. His name is Percy Flowers.
Okay.
You know, he was back in probably the 70s, and that's where they originated from.
They come from Judge Leaper? We come from Judge?
Well, see, Judge Leaper bred them, and who he got his from, I don't know. Percy was a pretty, he didn't tell people a lot of information. He was a pretty private person.
Okay.
And I just looked up and got some from people that knew him well. And now, how he got them, I don't know.
Now, there's a big controversy. Are Leapers hatches?
You know, from what I'm reading, to everything in the past, they're not. But they're supposed to have some black blood in them, some...
Can they come with black, sometimes the black ring around their eyes,
yeah,
right?
some black neck. You know, I think that it's not they call them nigger roundheads. That's
Right.
what he bred in them. That's what I was told, which is a jap, some kind of black jap.
Because they're tight feather too, right?
Mhm.
Yours are tight feather, right?
Most of them are, but through the years, any of that jap blood that was bred in them, or whatever he bred, that Oriental type blood, it's got to be just about bred out. Because I can tell now, they got more feathers, they're more aggressive, they're not as smart as it was. I actually liked them when they was a little smarter. But you can tell if it was any of the Oriental type blood in them, you don't see it now.
Okay. And how are your Leapers? What's your best quality?
They break good for green-legged chickens. A lot of green-legged chickens don't break very good. These break pretty good.
Smart?
Yeah, they're still smart, but not as much as they were. But they'll get out of the way and hit back.
Okay. Cut real good?
Yeah, for green-legged chickens they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you cross them with?
Probably the best cross is with the what Alejandro used to like was the half leapers, quarter gray, quarter kelso, or quarter sweater.
Oh, wow.
That's mostly what he used to use. It's all half leaper, quarter gray, and either with the kelso or the sweater.
Okay.
And then we bred some with the brown red in them. I think them were probably the best chickens I ever had. They were half leaper, quarter kelso, quarter brown red. But that was a really good brood cock too. I mean, I bred him to other chickens, he done really well with.
That's funny how you can have two brothers and they're not good, huh?
Yeah, you can. It's no guarantee.
Do you like inbreeding or do you like line breeding or?
I do more line breeding, but you gotta do some inbreeding at some point.
Okay.
Like I say, whatever it takes to maintain the lines, it's what you gotta do.
Do you believe in single mating?
Yes.
You know,
I think that's the only way if you have facilities and the time and all that is, there's more work to it, but yeah. Cause like I say, you just said, you breed two brothers, one may be better than the other.
right.
You can breed two sisters, one may be better than the other one.
Okay. It was funny, you know, termite.
Yeah.
A good friend of ours, I love talking to him because I like to pick his brain, and he said that he's seen breeders that do really, really good for years, and they start selling out chickens and start doing a bunch of like, you know, just mass production, and they stop, you know, just single mating, and they go
Well,
off.
to start trying to breed more chickens, and I've got into that before too. You know, everybody wanted to buy chickens, you couldn't raise enough chickens, so you start trying to raise more chickens, and maybe by not put them on, spreading them out more, putting a lot more hens in pens, then the chickens ain't as healthy. Things start filtering down that, you know, and your win-loss record will change.
And that's where your honesty comes in, Jeff. I mean, you know, you could raise 3 times the money, and you could probably sell 3 times the money, but you don't because you can't raise them healthy.
Well, what I'm trying to do now is not raise as many, that raise better quality.
Right. And we were talking about this over here too. You only have 5 families, right?
Six.
And you were saying there's too many.
And that is a lot.
And, you know, there's people down here in Mexico, I won't mention any names, but, you know, one guy's got like, you know, they started off with hatches and they had 15 family hatches, and now they have, you know, 2 families of cows,
In other words, they got whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
They got it.
They got it. I mean, they got like, you know, I've seen breeders that got 30 lines, 25, 30 lines.
I used to keep 3 to 4. And I always said, when you get past 3 or 4 bloodlines, you've got too many. But now with the Filipino market the way it is, the Mexican market the way it is, I gotta have a little bit different style chickens. The only reason I've got 6, or I wouldn't have probably 3 or 4. If I was only sticking to one market, I'd probably just have 3 or 4 lines.
Which would be what, for Mexican market, which ones would you pick?
The grays, the kelsos, the sweaters, probably the leapers.
And the blacks?
Yeah, I'd keep some black roosters. But you know, black roosters is, some people, usually you love them or hate them. You know, some people just don't like black, some people do. So, you know, but the yellow-legged market down here is always gonna be good.
So, what's so, how's it hard, what's so hard to keep, more than 4, you know, 5, 6 lines?
But you gotta, when you're selling trios, you gotta be able to sell a guy a rooster and 2 hens that he can breed together, that is not brother and sister or not just so close.
Right.
And so you gotta breed several families, several pens to be able to make trios, if you're gonna sell trios.
Okay.
And then there'll be some that inbreed too close, that just don't, and then some cocks just don't produce. So
Right.
not all of them make it, you know, some of them you eliminate.
So, I mean, so you have to have, like I said, 3, 4 pens
Or more, or you really need 7, 8 pens.
for each line.
Yeah. To have a good assortment to pick from,
Right.
a good selection.
So, I remember, you know Victor Sierra, right? Good
Yes.
friend. Say hi to Victor Sierra. Also, I want to say hi to Tyler Clark, and Jason Daniel, and all my buddies, Roberto Ramirez. Shout out to you guys. He went to a breeder in California, and I won't mention his name either, but he said, "Oh, look at my new brew pen," and it was a brew pen from Dink Fair.
Okay.
And he said, "Well, that's Dink's brew pen. It's not your brew pen, you know." It's like, that's his line, not your line.
Well,
And he was selling trio from that brew pen, you know?
yeah, but you know, at least he went to a good place to get chickens, so you got to start there with somebody that's got a good track record. And Victor has done really well over there.
Victor's smart. I mean, he's one of my.
He's got good chickens.
And he said he'll raise 100 pure roundheads to pick one, and he'll fight them 5, 6 times, you know, each one, and
Yeah.
pick one rooster.
Well, he's got, you know, for what he's not. I don't think he sells a lot of chickens. He probably sells some local ones, but that's not his deal. So, and if he raises 200. For what he's going to pick through them and get the best, and he's going to use them, and that's why you really need to do it. If you're trying to raise them, you know, that's like I said. When you go to single mating and selection, you got to have all that if you're going to stay on top of this game.
Because he says he breeds a stag every year. He never breeds a stag twice. He says, if I don't improve my line every year, then I'm not a good breeder.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen your lines from 20 years ago and now, and they're a lot better now, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I think a lot of things have improved since then. The feed, the health and stuff is, chickens, in my opinion, is better now than it was 10 years ago.
Okay.
Because now we're shipping chickens all over the world. And if they ain't pretty healthy, and the climate change, they don't do very well.
Right.
And that's what you see. You see some good chickens that get shipped halfway around the world and may not do good at all, just because they couldn't take that climate change, and you know, they just fell apart.
And a good health chicken can do that, right?
Yeah, so I'd rather have a healthy average chicken than a good chicken that's not healthy, because when he gets under a little stress, he's probably not.
They'll quit. I mean, you'll have a.
He's not gonna hold up on you.
Yeah, they'll quit. I mean, you have
Yeah.
game interest in the world, and they'll quit if it's not healthy, right?
it's, a lot of things can happen there when they're not healthy.
Okay. You're blacks. How the hell did you get into getting blacks?
I got them from a breeder in Tennessee. His name was Robert Prater.
I remember that.
He showed under volunteer.
Yeah, yeah. You told me the original cock.
Yeah, and Robert gave them to me. We were going to Kentucky back in the 90s, early 2000, and Robert was a good friend of mine. He gave them to me, and you know, I'm really not a black chicken person because the market's yellow-legged chickens, but I've kept them, and I've had some really good black chickens.
Okay.
You know, I've had some average ones too, but I can remember some I thought was as good as what I ever had.
What did you cross them with?
The Leaper bred to the Kelso black hens were really good.
Okay.
And then the sweater blacks.
You have some brown-head blacks too, right?
Yeah. Well, we've just really getting into them, mostly for the Filipino show. But the Kelso blacks, is we use more of them down
here?
Mexico, yeah.
Now, your brown reds, what do you like about them?
They got good bottom for black chickens. And they just...
More than the Kelsos?
So far they've been good. I mean, you know, I haven't had no issues with them. But you can breed them to something with a little more speed and go to the Filipino show, or you can breed them with something that's a little slower, slow them down a little bit.
Are they fast, your blacks, or?
They got pretty good speed. But think about it, when they get hurt, they're really good when they get hurt, I think.
So that's the best quality? Because they're game you're one up.
Yeah. I mean, they hit back at one with their feet out in front of them. They just don't hit to knock one off.
They want to go through that other.
Yeah, you see some chickens just try to hit, knock one off.
Right.
I don't like that quality.
Right. Smart, aggressive.
Aggressive, smart, just so.
And power.
Real aggressive chickens are not real smart.
Yeah.
You get them too aggressive, then you know they lose some of their smartness. That's why you got to sort of make certain blends.
Okay. We're gonna start with it.
No estoy hablando aquí.
Okay, vamos a hacer todo. Vamos a. Esta es la recta. ¿Qué te manejas la cámara si quieres?
Sí.
Esta es la recta que tenemos ahorita, compañeros. Ahorita tenemos. When you buy 2 dozen right now, we got a free boot. Cuando compran 2 docenas, tenemos una botana gratis. Es la especial. Mejoramos mucho el filo, mejoramos mucho la punta, mejoramos mucho el temple. Ahorita en la compra de 2 docenas, regalamos una botana. Going back to your the blacks. So you recommend crossing with Kelsos, the sweaters, the leapers, pretty much anything then, right?
Yeah, I have. Now, I have not bred them to the grays, but Alex does. He likes the grays and blacks. He breeds mostly the crosses down here.
Okay.
But that's...
How the hell did you ever meet up with Alex anyway?
His cousin lives close to me and helps me a lot up there on the farm and around. I've known him since he was for many, many years.
Jose, his cousin?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I can tell they look alike.
They're just ugly.
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you been partnered with him for?
What, about 2005?
2001, más o menos 2002.
Okay. What's his best quality? Everything on time?
I wouldn't do that. He's honest, I know that.
Yeah. But
And he does a good job. He's dedicated
Okay.
and he's honest and, you know.
Time management pretty good?
The what?
The time management, like, you know,
Time,
how to be on Friday at 3 o'clock?
He's got a
Sharp.
different, he's got a different Rolex than I got. It don't work, it runs so slower.
You know, my white friends say, you know, Mexican time and American time, which one do you want?
Él se debe acoplar a los horarios.
Now,
You know what I tell people about that? Most Hispanics I know don't have a watch, and the ones that does, it don't work. I said, they know they got to be somewhere at a certain time, and they get to looking at the watch and spend all their time looking at the watch, make sure they get there on time, so they don't even want to watch.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, Mexicans are weird with time, you know. It's just we just
They got a lot on their mind.
yeah, it's just I'm American friends go when they tell me, you know, what time you'll be there at 3 o'clock, they go Mexican time or American time.
Mm-hmm.
So they put that out. Your grays, where do the grays come from?
Their regular grays come from Red Richardson.
Okay.
A friend of mine in Ohio, Gary Rutherford, he got them from Red. I think Red gave them to him for his 16th birthday when he was 16.
Okay.
And they've had them for years. He and his dad, Wayne, they raised them. And, well, Gary and I are about the same age, so they had them for a long, long time. But they're just the regular gray blood.
Real game, real a lot of bottom.
Yeah, and healthy and game. But, you know, through the years, they seem to have gotten a little bit taller and a little bit more speed, which they still need some. But, hey, that's what they're for. They're for gameness and health.
Okay.
I mean, if you have one chicken that was the perfect chicken, that's what
wouldn't
everybody would have.
You wouldn't have any crosses.
Yeah, everybody had the same chicken. So you got to make crosses and blends and see what works and what don't.
Do they cut good?
So.
So. That's where you got the
The pure ones, they're not known for their cutting ability, the pure ones.
Okay. What about aggressive or?
Yeah, they're aggressive. Like I say, they got a lot of hatred in them. When they get hurt, they really get aggressive.
Are they the ones in most bottom? The grays?
Yes.
More than the Kelsos?
Yes.
Okay.
Think about the Kelso, there's a lot more speed there, so maybe the chicken can only go so long so fast. Where the grays are kind of slower, single stroking type chicken, they can do that about all day.
Right. Okay.
So, you know, I think some people underestimate when they go talking about gameness with some of the speed chickens. It's like a sprinter. You can't run a guy who runs a 100-yard dash and a 2-mile run.
Right.
He's gonna run out. He's gonna get tired before he makes it 2 miles. So you got to, like I say, you just got to find your blends and decide what you want to use them for.
I've seen. I won't mention her name, but she said I can give my best brood stock to somebody and tell them how to raise them, and they'll mess them up in 3-4 years. You know.
Mm-hmm.
They I want to add this lie to him. You know.
I think you could take. That's why I say the good breeders that've been around a long time, they're always going to be around. You could take 10 breeders and give them the exact same chickens, and I bet you in 5 years, you'd be lucky if 2 of them still got them. And those 2 will probably be your 2 better breeders that's always stood the test of time.
Probably because they do the single mating and they breed enough.
Chickens, and they pick out their selection of broodcocks and brood hens is good. They got a good feel for that.
What do you look at a broodcock?
The best broodcocks I've ever had, when I picked them out, it was 50, 100 feet away.
Really?
Yeah. You walk out into a field and you see a rooster away from you that really stands out to you, usually he's going to be the nicest rooster in the field.
What do you mean?
Well, you walk up to a rooster and you start looking at him and say, well, I like this about him, I like his station. And he thinks you're going to feed him or something. They'll act good right then.
Right.
Get away from them and see what they act like when they're by themselves.
Okay.
I mean, at a distance.
Right.
And then when I put them in the brood pen, I watch them. They got to protect that brood pen. That's their home. If they're not aggressive in that brood pen, then I'll take them out.
They don't control the hens
Yeah.
and control the...
If I walk up to a pen and that rooster walks around and gets behind those hens and stands there, he's coming out.
He's out of there.
Yeah.
He's got to be in front of the hens.
I like to see him herd them hens off to the back, and then he'll come back up there and stand there and watch you.
And not all of them do that.
No, not all of them do.
What? How many do you think out of 10? How many do you think do that?
Some of the bloodlines like the Kelsos and the aggressive type chickens, you get a pretty good percentage of them. The roundheads you might not, because they're really smart. They're more smart chickens.
But you still look for that trait
still
in them.
yeah.
And they don't, that's a good point, though. I've heard that a couple times before.
But I can remember some of the cocks I've bred. When I walked down the field, I seen them from a distance. And I said, you stood out. A lot of them look good up close.
Right.
Because like you say, they think you might be going to feed them or they act good because you're there. But get away from them and see what they act like.
That's a really good point. What about a hen?
The hens, that's pretty much just put 5 or 6 in a pen and just watch them.
And what do you watch?
The ones that act the best, the ones that always don't ever have a bad day. Some of them sort of go to the back and hang around, and then the other one's aggressive, they'll fight the other hens and run them off. The other day I had a pen of sweaters. Sweaters are all of a sudden getting bad for this. They start fighting. I had to separate 4 of them, take them in the chicken house because they'd all beat up. They just got to fighting one another.
Is that good?
I think it is, but you know, we've been having a lot of rain, and I think what happened, they got real wet, and they look different.
They look different, yeah.
And even my Kelso's done that. I've had some trouble with them doing that, but they've gotten more. Even the hens have gotten more aggressive.
Okay. What about your roundheads? Where they come from?
Dan Gray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got a dark roundheads?
dark red,
White-legged?
Yeah. I used to go by Dan's on Monday when we leave Sunset, cause my flight was out at like Monday night. So we go by Dan's on Monday, and he gives me the roundheads.
Dan's still alive?
Yes.
He's still breeding?
No.
No?
Not the last time I talked to him, and I haven't talked to him in a while.
Okay.
He was not.
What do you like about the roundheads?
If you like the Filipino show especially, I think you like the roundhead because they fly good and they're smart.
Cut real good for you,
Exactly, yeah.
but not good for Mexican?
You gotta cross them for the Mexican show. We cross them with the grays, a lot of grays.
For that power?
Yeah, because it's got the bottom and it's got the heel. And we've bred some sweater roundheads we've used in Mexican.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see, we went through your, let's see. Your sweaters, where are they from?
Carol.
You come from Carol?
Yeah. Like I said, the first time I come to Mexico, I came with Carol. So
Okay.
back, and I got them in probably 95, 96. Carol, he helped me a lot back then. You know, he let me travel with him some. I got the original ones from him.
Okay. And what's their style?
They're aggressive, hit a lot of licks. Really, I think the Mexican show is better for them. If you're gonna go to the Filipino, you gotta breed something to slow them down just a little and make them more accurate.
Accurate?
Yeah,
Okay.
like a round heads, something like that, breed to them. At least that's the way mine are.
They're not smart then?
Yeah, they kind of are, but when they get, I think one trait they got is when they start hitting, they hit so fast and hard, they pull their legs back to get their feet on the ground so they can hit again real quick. Or like if you slow them down a little bit, they hit on through and be a little more accurate.
Okay. But you still like them though?
Yeah. But I breed a lot of sweaters. I mean, we breed sweaters in about everything. And that's what the Mexican market is. I mean, they like the lemon aqua-legged chickens for the bigger part of it, not all of them, but.
Somebody told me that, you know, you could take 2 brothers and one's lemon hack and one's dark one, and they'll come over there and they'll spar him. And the dark one will beat the crap out of the lemon hack, and the Mexicans will still take the lemon hack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I said, the lemon aqua-legged chickens are the strong in this market, even in the Filipino market too.
This is pretty, I mean, they're just prettier, I guess, you know. Let's see. What's your favorite cross for a Mexican market?
Right now, the Kelso sweaters probably.
Oh, really?
Well, they're lemon aqua-legged, and they're suited for this. Alex likes the blacks and the grays.
Okay.
You know, different people have different preferences. You know, the sweater grays, they've always been pretty good. You know, they come out of leg gray, they breed the sweater and the gray together.
Okay.
I kind of like the sweater Kelso.
The sweater Kelso?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I'm gonna show you.
No quiero salir pan.
¿Aquí ve el pan?
No quiero salir.
Ahora te hablamos contigo, pero esa es la recta que estamos usando ahorita. La hemos mejorado mucho en cuestión de grosor del estilo. La punta ya viene más brava, pero más reforzada. También we fixed the temper, the heat treating. We were talking about earlier, you know how where we have a lot of filters, quality filters here in the company now. Because if we mess up one little thing, you know, you were saying that it is,
Got to be very precise all
Yeah.
the time.
you know, now we, you know, our edge is so much better now than before. Our temper, you know, we're seeing that earlier. I mean, this is a harmless key wood, and I can take this knife and pretty much, and nothing happens to the tip. To the tip.
I hear people talking in the industry, and I never hear no one say anything negative about your knives. Seems like
You know,
everything I hear pretty positive.
You know, we've had problems, like, you know,
Oh,
like with, you know, with your chickens, you know, I'm sure you had, you know, a bad pen,
Well, yeah, there's learning curves in anything,
and
and there's machinery malfunctions. You know,
Yeah.
but seems like you get on it really quick and get straight back out if something does.
but, you know, let's say, you know, you have a bad proof pen, and somebody gets, you know, bruise stock, and they
Yeah.
call you, and you make it right, you know?
Just eliminate all of them, start over, you know, yeah.
You know, same with me, you know, I've had problems in the past with you know, the points, or the temper, or the heat treating. But every time we do something, we always learn from it, and we always, you know, something never happens twice here, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
And that's how you become successful. You know, I get a bad brute pen, I'll eliminate the whole pen.
Same,
I mean, it happens.
we have, you know, they're Paragon ovens that they cost about 5 times as much as the Mexican ovens, but, you know, they're American made, American quality. You know, I showed you the sharpening image we have, you know, it's a Burger King, which is, you know, top of the line American machinery, and, you know, I've had, you know, American knife maker come over here to my shop and, you know, go through my whole procedures and what's wrong, what's right. I mean, like right now, I can, you know, do this all day long and nothing happens to the tip, you know? The tip's still good on that. So I'm really proud of this. I mean, like, you know, when you have something, you know, something do real good with your chickens, you know, it makes you proud. You know, same with me, you know?
This is the first time I've been to your facility, and I was impressed with the machinery and your layout. I think you're on the right track.
Well, I appreciate that. Alejandro just won the Intercontinental Derby to the last month,
¿15 días? ¿Qué?
2 weeks ago, and they used la especial es cuál, ¿no? La especial they used a special knife, the Bugatti knife, but the special style, which is this one right here. That's a special. So anyway, like I said, you know, we were talking about that earlier. How you gotta be. I mean, I gotta be here all day long. You know, same with you. You know.
Yeah.
It's just nobody does what for your business what you do. You know. Let's see. What we're going back to what we were talking about. What do you recommend in the off season? I mean, when you have roots in the molt.
For the molt, it's less stress as they can do. The less stress, the better they take a molt, the better your chicken's going to do. Try to keep them from stressing so much.
Okay.
As far as electrolytes in the waters, shade is good
Shade.
if you have that.
Not sparring them halfway through the molt.
We don't even handle theirs when they're molting. If we worm, we mix it on our feed and things like that. We vaccinate. We wait till they're at least lost all their feathers and started back.
Okay.
You know,
I remember,
the ones that take the molt better are usually healthier and they will usually do better.
you know Andy Robertson, right? Andy?
Yeah.
Midget Andy. That's a good friend of ours. He told me he had a brewcock butcher. Took him halfway through the mold, and he sparred him, and he quit. So he kills him.
And those were the best chickens he had.
His sons were the best chickens he ever had.
There's a breeder, a really good breeder, and back in the 90s and 2000, or say 2000, he was, in my opinion, the best in the world at that time. That's how good the chickens were. And he had a cock they bred a lot, and when he started molting, he went hacked. So when this other guy went there to go to work for him, he looked at it. He said, "What's the deal with the rooster that's hacked?" He said, "Well, most of the chickens we have next year is out of him." He said, "You got to be kidding me." But they kept the cock, and that was the best chickens they had.
Really?
But during the molt, the cock went hacked.
Wow.
And either that, two things happen. Either that happens and you get rid of it, or you breed a pen of chickens and you say, "Well, I don't know if I like him or not," and get rid of the cock, and they'll turn out really good. If you want them to be good, get rid of the cock, and they'll turn out good. And you don't have the cock no more.
You have the cock no more,
I've
right?
seen that happen several times.
Any kind of advice for guys racing down here in Mexico?
Well, whether you're racing here or anywhere, especially if you're starting and you're trying to learn, you got to go to somebody that's successful and earn their trust. If you got water chickens, whatever you got to do, just hang around them, and you'll learn a lot from somebody that's got a lot of experience. But don't let it, if you're going to do that, they're going to have to trust you to start with, that you're serious about what you want to do.
Okay.
And, you know, it's just...
Can I go to your house and stay for a couple weeks?
Yeah.
Can
you feed water
I got
chickens?
good news and bad news though.
Can you feed water chickens?
Well, I got good news and bad news. I'm lazy. I'm real lazy. I don't know how to do anything, but I don't need a helper though.
You don't need okay.
I'm not your normal Mexican. I'm just talking.
I'll put you on the back 40.
The quality of the American roosters and Mexican roosters. What do you think?
You know, I don't think you can call one a Mexican rooster and one a American rooster no more, because they're all about the same bloodlines.
Right.
In my opinion.
But racing wise though.
It's just the thing that helps them in the U.S. is the weather. You know, we got the 4 seasons, the cold weather, cold enough in the wintertime to kill out a lot of diseases.
You can snow in your house, right?
Yes. And hot enough in the summertime to kill out some diseases. And, you know, I think that's the biggest thing. And then we have good quality feed too.
In the States.
Yeah.
Better than here.
Well, as a whole, I've been looking at the feed that people sell. It's quality looks a lot better than it used to. But I think the weather and the quality of feed and there's a lot of it there.
Okay.
Because in hot, dry places or wet places, it's hard to raise really healthy chickens.
Hot places?
Yeah. Or hot, dry, really dry and hot, or really hot and wet, hot and wet being worse. You know, it's chickens hunt for the shade all day, trying to stay in the coolest place they can, just stand there and bunch up.
Right.
And then you got chickens that's in the woods running around, or in a place, you know, it's not so hot. They're hunting bugs, they're moving around all day.
Well, the Philippines though, that's hot and humid and rainy, and
Yeah.
they got their worst.
Yeah, it's just difficult over there.
But they got a lot of really good breeders, right?
Yeah, well, too, you know, they got places there is some higher elevations that they go to over there.
Really?
Yeah, and if you go to Bacola, they actually got a couple mountains in Bacola, and that's where a lot of the chickens are raised over there.
Okay.
They lease those in 5-acre tracts. It's hard, you can't hardly buy the property, but they'll lease it 5-acre tracts. And there'll be farms just in lines down through there in 5-acre farms. And most of the people come and buy. A lot of chickens in the Philippines are raised in Bacola.
Healthy?
Well,
You
better than most places,
But you
because
have,
of
you,
climate.
have, you have that many chickens in one place though, I mean.
Yeah, but instead it's a better weather there. It's not so hot, and it's not so wet.
I remember there when I went to the Philippines, I was walking down the street. You couldn't walk down like the side streets, the major, like in Cebu, I went to Cebu. Every side street had chickens on the sidewalks.
Oh yeah, and in the medium, in the streets, if it's a grassed area, they'll have them tied out there. And then go back and get them in the afternoon and put them back in their pen.
That's funny.
So they, yes. And seeing a guy walk down the street or riding a bicycle carrying a rooster going down to the Palenque or whatever to hack them, you see them doing that every day.
What do you like better, Philippines or Mexico?
You know, just, I'm okay with either one. I like it, I like both of them.
Food?
Probably, I don't know, tacos are pretty good. Some of that seafood they got over there is, I don't know where it came from.
You like hot sauce here?
The rice is okay over there, they have good rice.
Right. You got rice at McDonald's. I was there, rice at McDonald's.
Yeah.
That was trippy. How much do you get for your trios right now, Jeff?
Trios are $1,000 plus shipping.
$1,000 plus shipping? 1,000 plus shipping?
Yes, sir.
So it's about $1,200?
$1,200.
$1,200, okay. Here's Jeff Hudspeth. Okay. He has his number. Please, only serious calls. Don't call him to talk for an hour about chickens. Brood fowl. So that's, his price are $1,000 plus shipping. That's his phone number. That's the way you call from the States, way you call from Mexico. So please, only serious calls only. He's very busy, but he's, very humble. He'll talk to anybody. That's one thing I see about you. I see you at the Intercontinental. You never say no to a picture. You never say no to an autograph. You never say no to, trying to help somebody out.
Well, when I was a kid, I grew up in the South where racing was popular.
Yeah.
In order to race, you got to have sponsors. So you got to be, you never know who around the corner that could be helpful to you.
Right.
Or it could be a potential sponsor. And I look at the chicken business the same way. You never know who could buy some chickens and raise chickens that turn out real good and help you advertise. Or one thing about it, if you're really negative, you're gonna get negative feedback. So I try to treat people like I want them to treat me.
That's one thing I've always admired from you. Your honesty and your humbleness, with people. You talk to, Daniel, which is one of the bosses. He's got his own team and everything. The same way you talk to, one of his helpers.
Mm-hmm.
And that says a lot about you. The way you treat people. I remember I was in the restaurant business for 30 years, and I used to see couples come into a restaurant. They were, you can tell they're barely dating. The way she treated the girl treated the waiter, that was the way she's going to treat that guy in a couple of years.
I can believe that.
So that's a little advice for anybody there. Advice for a new beginner.
Just get to know someone that's successful and try to spend as much time there as you can.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a difficult question, Jeff. When it was, in the States, when, it was legal and everything, do you think it was morally wrong to buy or sell a fight?
Well, you get a really bad reputation for that. So, you see people that do that, and they depend on their living as just showing chickens, and they'll do whatever to make money. They don't have a lot of pride in what they raised, and most of them didn't raise them. They trained them for somebody or bought them or something. So, but most of you breeders that are serious about what they're doing, they're pretty legit. They got a lot of pride in.
Do you think it is morally wrong?
I wouldn't do it, so
But it got to a point where, it was just normal. You meet him and you already knew what you had to do. You know.
Back when I started, that's the way it was. You met your friend, you helped him. If he met you, he helped you. But as time went on and people understood what was going on, and stuff. You don't see much of that no more.
Okay.
I think the pit operators have done a good job watching for it. And those type of people that do that usually come and go.
Yeah.
They're not around long. Like I say, you more serious people, the serious breeders, they try to make what they got better. They don't try to figure out how to take something from somebody.
You know, and I won't talk bad about him, but it is what it is, you know. Nika,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he was famous. I mean, and actually, he's one of my guys I admired most because he was a good chicken. I
He
mean,
was very good chicken
man. You know, crooked as fucking hell, but he was a good chicken man.
Well, there's another one, like I said, he depended on making money with the chickens, and he wasn't a breeder. He was a trainer, and he
Yeah.
showed them, and he tried to figure every angle he could.
Yeah.
Because that was his livelihood.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's what I'm saying, the ones that trainers and stuff, back in the day, that's the way they made a living, so they tried to figure every angle they could.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. And Nika was I remember one time he was handling a rooster in, I don't know, Sunset or somewhere. And he was handling and he was winning the fight, and the white guy across the, you know, he was saying, "God damn it, Nika, if my rooster quits, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you."
Yeah, he had a lot of people thought that a lot of, you know, chickens quit pecking or something like that. So, you know, I didn't know him real well. I'd see him and talk to him, and like I said, I think he was a good chicken guy.
He was a real good chicken man.
knowledge.
I mean, and I consider him a friend. You know, he was what he was, but I consider him a friend. You know, and I want to talk back about him. I did want to show you guys. We have these new boots, and they're some people say they're like cheater boots because they have magnets.
Mm-hmm.
And old timers say the magnets hurt the rooster, the cuts hurt more, and they say they bleed out more. So we have these right now. We just got those out right now. We also have the self-setting boots, which are those. Self-setting boots. For shows up north, we have the Guarañas 4 lines. These come in 4 lines, anywhere from 2 lines to 7 lines. We have, this is another real popular one, Media Luna. You know Chris Prater?
Yeah.
He uses the Media Luna. Also, what's his name? Doozy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He uses my Media Luna too. Here's a Triple V. Here's a Triple V 3 lines. Alright. Well, I appreciate it, Jeff. We're gonna go right now with Alejandro.
Okay.
Alejandro, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, bien. Aquí estamos.
Alejandro, alias Jaimito. ¿Por qué tienes Jaimito? ¿O más es Cantón?
Cantón.
¿Cantón?
No más él.
Pero Jaimito no te llamas.
No.
¿Eh? Y también tengo una buena amistad con Jaimito, bueno, con Alejandro de hace muchos años también. Él fue el que me hizo mis cajas. Sí le reconozco que es muy tiene muy buena cabeza. ¿Cuánto tiempo tienes conocido Jeff?
Desde el 2001 más o menos.
¿2001?
2001 fue cuando empezamos una relación de amistad por medio de mi primo, del güero.
Pobre cabrón. No, dice él que muy honesto, eres muy honesto. Eso nadie lo duda, ¿eh?
Bueno, es que es la base de una sociedad. Si no hay honestidad, pues no hay sociedad.
Sí, cierto. Acabas de ganar el Inter.
Gracias a Dios.
Primer lugar.
Primer lugar en Pachuca.
Se repartieron, ¿verdad?
Sí, hubo varios. Hubo varios primeros lugares, no se pudo ganar todas.
De 280 partidos,
200, como casi los 300, 200.
nadie pudo ganar 7 peleas.
Sí. Estuvo muy duro. O sea, fueron tomando punteros en todo el evento.
Te quiero agradecer por la confianza
gracias.
de usar mis navajas. Ellos también ya tienen tiempo usando mis navajas. Igual como aquí pueden ver la gente que usa mis navajas. Tenemos Manolo Torres, a Don Guido, Beto Pranini, el Mike Reséndez, Víctor Tame también usa, Nick, junto paso de Nico, Roberto Flaco también a veces usa mis navajas, el Bombón también, Bush, Gonzalo Sandoval, José Trujillo también usa mis navajas, Lavadora también usa mis navajas, mi amigo Guerrero también usa mis navajas. Hay muchos que ya nos dan la confianza. ¿Qué gallos jugaste en el Inter? ¿Qué cruzas?
Fue un Kelson Brown Red y 6 Suárez Kelson.
¿6 Suárez Kelson? ¿Cuál perdió?
Un Suárez Kelson. Y muy dura, demasiado dura.
Dijo Jeff que se hubiera ganado,
Sí,
o se hubiera empatado.
sí, pero pues lo que pudiera.
Es que mira, tiene una cosa, adentro es una cosa y afuera es otra cosa, ¿eh? También.
Por el muchacho, pues a lo mejor la regó, no regó, pero solamente él sabe lo que él traía en las manos. Todo el mundo dijo que se pudiera haber ganado, pero así lo dejamos, ¿verdad? La satisfacción, también más grande que la última pelea, fue un gallo de ella, el Cedar Hill. Por Silver Hill. El último, el que dio el gane a todos, fue un gallo.
Caray.
Sí, de un giro patas amarillas con Lipper.
Qué bien.
Sí, eso fue la satisfacción más grande. Da de cuenta que pues, se siente uno más agradecido o más a gusto, pues. Y los 2 terceros lugares también fueron gallos de. Hubo 2 terceros lugares que se entraron también por Silver Hill.
Uno fue de señor Jorge Vázquez.
No.
No.
De los 2 terceros. De los que entraron al tercer lugar, 2 de los terceros fueron gallos también de sangre.
Pero Jorge Vázquez quedó en tercer lugar, ¿no?
Sí, pero dentro de ellos,
2 de ellos eran
gallos de
sangre.
sí, por Silver Hill, pero con sangre de Cedar, pues.
Tú aquí crías aquí en la playa de Zacatecas, cría, ¿verdad?
En el sur.
Sí, en Zacatecas. Somos paisanos para acabar de chingar.
El mero cañón de Juchipil.
Me hacía fotos de tu rancho muy bonito, mucha vegetación, muchas montañas, ¿verdad?
Pues creamos en lo más alto de ahí del cañón, que son como 1800 metros.
Wow.
Sí, y es lo más vegetal que hay en Zacatecas, lo más nos ha favorecido mucho ahí.
¿Qué es lo que crías?
Es lo mismo, pero sacamos más amarillo, lo que pida la gente, pues.
Pero puro de combate, no
casi la mayor parte de todo es para combate. Y lo único que hacemos es, sacamos mucho en 3 sangres nosotros, usamos mucho hembras de 2 sangres, lo que somos aquí.
¿Cuál es tu favorita cruza?
Suárez Kelson es lo que más pide la gente. Y prieto con Kelson. Y giros, últimamente vamos sacando giros con mitad de prieto, mitad de Kelson.
Wow. ¿Y qué tal?
Bien, nos ha ido muy bien. La gente lo pide.
Si quieren contactar a don Alejandro, ese es su número de teléfono. Está en Facebook como Cedar Creek. Está en Facebook como Alejandro Guerrero, Facebook. Página es, su página es Facebook, es Cedar Creek, Uchupila. Y es el número de teléfono. También, por favor, puras llamadas serias. Con él sí, háblenla para que pueden lo que quieran. También da clases de cocina y
de todo.
Y da clases también de ¿qué más das?
De diseño.
Diseño
porque
de
nos
caja.
quebraten las cosas. Nos quebramos la cabeza para que salgan las cosas bien. Y al último nos brincan chapulines.
Bueno, cabrón. Se defiende como gato boca arriba, una pregunta. ¿A cómo de los pollos?
Normalmente más o menos sobre 2,000 pesos, más o menos 1,800, 2,000 pesos. Empezamos la venta en noviembre, se termina en febrero. En realidad sacamos pocos.
¿Cuántos sacas?
600 pollos más o menos por año. Es lo es lo que podemos almacenar pues ahí.
Si alguien quiere un trío de Jeff aquí en México,
Sí.
¿tú le contacto?
Sí, así es.
Entonces, si alguien quiere un trío de Jeff aquí en México, hablen directamente con Alejandro. Si quieren un trío en Estados Unidos, pueden hablar con el señor Jeff. Le voy a repetir, llamadas serias, no hablen nomás para preguntar y no comprar. Se escucha feo, ¿verdad? Pero...
Mucha gente que le gusta platicar, pues es válido.
Este cabrón le encanta platicar. Con eso
No, pues es que hay que, la gente a veces pregunte, ¿quieres información? A lo mejor ahorita no lo compran en 2, 3, 4 años, pero estamos para eso.
Muy bien, muy buen punto. Muy buen punto. Entonces, todos los gallos que antes fueron Kelson con suave
6 suere con queso.
y un prieto.
Y un prieto.
De
Pero la base en todo el evento fue queso.
Kelson, todos
Sí,
tienen
Todos
tienen
traen
Kelson.
queso.
Wow. Entonces, los pollos que tú vendes son mitad y 3/4.
Sí, de mitad y mitad y 3 sangres.
¿Y tú cómo contaste con los gallos?
Pues desde chico me llamó la atención de los 5 o 6 años.
¿Tu papá era gallero?
No le gustaban, pero jamás me dijo que no, siempre me apoyó haciéndome jaulas, haciéndome mis gustos en Cuchipila y cuando nos trajo para vivir acá en Guadalajara también. Más que nosotros, yo me regresé para allá. Sí.
¿Tus hijos? ¿Nuestros gallos?
El más grande siempre me apoyó y el más chico me apoya mucho y si le gustan el del medio, ese no quiere nada, pero también
ahí está.
Se mete, sí.
Paga la escuela.
Sí, a la escuela tiene que apoyar.
Está bien.
Sí, sí.
¿Tienes muchos muchachos? ¿Van a la TEC de Monterrey?
Uno en el TEC y otro salió del ITESO y otro está en...
Sacaron el cerebro de la mamá.
Sí, por la mamá, pero todo gracias a los gallos.
Qué bueno,
Sí. Hay que, mucha gente nos tira que somos esto y que somos esto otro de los gallos y bendito sea Dios, todo ha salido de los gallos
pero
para
tú
el estudio de mis hijos.
¿Tú no apuestas, eh?
No, nomás lo que es.
Malo
Malo de la entrada, nosotros no nos dedicamos a apostar, nosotros a criar.
Claro.
Sí.
¿Vendes puro pollo, gallo macho no vendes?
No,
te quedan?
todo se vende de pollo, todo. No los hacemos machos.
1,800 o 2,000 pesos.
Sí, o sea, depende ahorita como ya ves de cómo está el alimento y todo, güey. Y a veces los traslados y todo eso.
¿Pueden ir a escoger, a topar, a
No,
Huichupila?
topar nada, todo es de vista. A todos los clientes son por lo mismo, por el igual. A nadie se lo topa.
Y sacar pata de
Nada. El que crea nosotros y a la vista puede agarrar cuerpos, puede hacer todo, pero a nadie, todos son parejos.
Pero así pueden ganar el cuerpo, que tengan un buen cuerpo,
sí,
que
sí.
tengan...
Y toda la gente lo sabe eso. O sea, nadie todos son iguales, el que compre 1, 2 o 10, 20, 50, 100, es lo mismo, todo parejo.
Entonces, ¿y crees allá en Huichupila, verdad?
Sí, todo se cría ahí. Todo se cría ahí y se suelta en la sierra, en plena libertad. Lo soltamos a los 28 días, lo recogemos a los 7 meses, 6 meses y medio, 7, depende cómo estén las aguas.
Cuando se empiezan allá.
Sí.
Cuando empieza a llover, ya se desconocen y empiezan ya...
Sí, pero uno yo saco tarde por lo mismo, porque allá llueve más tarde, pues, que en la Ciudad de México, allá llueve más temprano, más... Sí, hay que adaptarse al clima de nosotros.
¿Alguna garantía que le das a tus clientes?
¿Mándese?
¿Alguna garantía que le das a tus clientes? O sea, si vamos a poner que... A todos nos ha pasado que nos ha corrido un gallo.
A todo mundo, no conozco a algún creador que no lo corra.
O sea, ¿qué pasa eso? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué dices?
Pero es parte de... A veces no es parte de la genética, eso es parte de la alimentación.
Que estén saludables, todo eso.
Uno no puede responder por el cliente que a veces los alimente mal o no los vacune, o sea, un pollo si no los vacunan, que vaya enfermo a cualquier persona, pero hay gente que no lo quiere reconocer o no lo sabe alimentar, o yo como les digo, no son de pilas, para nomás darle cuerda en un rato y les den alimento a los 28 30 días antes de.
Claro.
Hay que alimentarlos antes de que nazca el huevo, ¿verdad?
Claro.
Hasta el final.
animales que están enfermos, de chiquitos, ¿qué haces con ellos?
Se sacrifica.
Luego,
Sí.
nada de que hay que curarlos y que...
Nunca andamos con una jeringa detrás de ellos, todo es a través del agua. Es puro preventivo, nosotros somos puro preventivo.
Y así uno está enfermo, se mata.
Sí, se sacrifica.
Para que...
Sí, para evitar contaminar a los demás o...
Saying that anything he raises, something that's sick, he kills him right away, ¿Qué es lo que buscas tú en una gallina? ¿O cómo escoges tú un cimental? ¿O ya te mandas
Sí, yo trabajo, sí, yo me baso, como una vez me dijo, que para qué ando inventándolo, yo, si él tiene 30 años, 20 años haciendo genética, entonces digo, no pierdas tu tiempo.
Y al principio se quería hacer los inventos.
Sí, claro, sí. Hacía mis cosas.
You said at first you wanted to make his inventions, I crossed this with this one. I said, you know what, I'll send you this way,
just leave them like that. He does breed a lot of grays and blacks. He likes that. I've never crossed a gray and black together.
Okay.
But he does, and he's had a lot of success with them.
Okay. ¿Tienes pastores en tu gallina?
No, nosotros nos dedicamos nomás a criar. Ahí conmigo nomás trabajan 3 personas. Uno en el área de los sementales, otra persona que me ha ayudado mucho, es allá en la crianza en el rancho.
Okay.
Una sola persona. Sí, él es la base de toda mi crianza. Él, sin saber nada. O sea, él nunca ha sido gallero ni ha visto. Nunca ha entrado a un palenque, pues.
A veces mejor así, ¿no?
Sí, no se necesita saber, sino tener la capacidad, la seriedad de llevar a cabo una crianza, sí, porque no se puede de otra manera. Y la otra persona es una mujer, la que está en la granja, es la que me atiende todos los pollos, una sola mujer.
Wow.
No ocupo más personas, nomás una sola mujer que trabaje, que tenga limpio, aseado, que le dé alimento, agua a las horas que debe ser, las vitaminas. Hay un calendario todo el año. Sobre todo los medicamentos preventivos, vitaminas y preventivos, todo el mes y de cada año es lo mismo.
¿De qué mes a qué mes crías? ¿O se sacan pollos?
Empezamos a incubar en febrero y nomás un solo mes, 28 días, lo que salió y nomás usamos 14 sementales, 80 hembras, no se ocupa más.
When's your months of breeding, Jeff?
When does it?
When do you start breeding?
We start breeding I like to start setting eggs at 1st of March.
Okay.
Because January and February is very cold where I live.
Okay.
And we try to quit by 1st of June.
Okay.
Now, I think I need to start a little earlier because a lot of people are buying stags and they'll be a little older. But it just seems like in March, April, May make the nicest 2-year-olds.
Okay. ¿Y tú más un mes nomás?
¿Dónde?
¿Nomás un mes?
Un solo mes.
¿Por qué?
Pues nomás saco los 600, no se ocupa más para sacar. ¿Para qué sacar más tiempo si nomás tengo capacidad para almacenar 600 pollos?
¿Qué tipo de comida das a tus pollos?
Más que nada pellet, 70% de pellet, 30% de granos. Hemos trabajado con 2 empresas, con Purina y con Malta, con los 2.
¿Malta?
Sí, con los 2 y siempre lo mismo, o sea, nos han ofrecido una y otra empresa el producto y con los dos hemos trabajado, con los 2 hemos tenido buenos resultados, pero siempre así. El mantenimiento 70% de pelo, 30% de granos, depende con el calor o el frío, o sea, ya cambiamos los granos a mayor o menor.
A question I forgot to ask you, Jeff. A friend and I was asking why sometimes, Americans will send a trio, and you'll get good sons out of that trio, but the sons out of those sons aren't any good.
Unless these chickens are just healthier than the ones that was raised here. I mean,
First
you
time,
know, that may have some bearing on it.
So you get a healthy rooster will you can get healthier sons out of him?
Yes.
That
Yes, I believe that.
oh wow. So,
You know, and I've seen that. They raise some, they're pretty good, and they try breeding the ones out of them, the offsprings, and they just didn't work out. The correct answer is I really don't know, other than maybe it's just these chickens, when they were down here, they were healthier, and the offsprings just never did adjust to the climate.
dice que una pregunta de una persona que por qué él, a veces cuando mandan los gringos críos, los hijos son buenos, pero los hijos de los hijos, los nietos, ya no salen igual. Dice que porque a veces ya no están igual saludables los hijos que él.
Sí, ese es el problema, es lo que yo te comento. El problema es, uno les puede vender animales muy buenos, pero a veces la mayor parte de las personas, de los clientes, y todos lo sabemos, los dueños le dejan a los empleados, el dueño tiene un negocio o es profesionista, se los dejan en manos de otros, ya le echan la culpa al criador y ellos no se hacen responsables el trabajador, y ese es el problema.
Ahorita le dije a Jeff esta historia que tú tienes 3 hijos, tú tienes un cierto amor por tus hijos,
Sí.
que nadie, ni tus hermanos tienen ese mismo amor por tus hijos. O sea, tú darías tu vida por tus hijos.
Claro.
Y los negocios son iguales. O sea, tú, él, yo, le tenemos un amor a nuestro negocio que los empleados nunca van a tener ese mismo amor. O sea, pueden tener el cariño, pueden tener, se ponen la camisa, pero el amor así no lo tienen.
Sí. Mira, todos mis trabajadores en el negocio de la publicidad, en la imprenta, pues del 86, yo empecé a trabajar en mi negocio, lo que viene siendo la impresión. Todos mis trabajadores han durado 10, 15 años conmigo o más. Entonces es porque hacen bien las cosas.
Claro.
Y
Pero no tiene el mismo amor a tu negocio como tú lo tienes.
No, claro. Todos se ponen la camiseta. Y el trabajador que no se la ponga, pues se sale rápido. Así sea en la área de impresión o en la área de los gallos. Y todos mis trabajadores, es más, todos los trabajadores nunca habían ido a un palenque. Sí. Entonces, si no les gusta lo que hacen, pues que se vayan, ¿no?
Claro.
O sea, esa es la base, o sea, la honestidad y que sean leales, más que nada.
¿Algún consejo para un principiante tú, Alejandro?
Yo pienso que primero, a quien le compren, que agarren buenos animales, o sea, de buena genética, a quien sean nacionales, o sean de quien sean, y llevar todo al pie. Vacunación primeramente, porque la mayor parte de los problemas de todo el mundo es que no vacunan. Nosotros vacunamos 3 veces al año.
¿Qué vacunas metes?
Triple Nocastle, 3 veces al año y una vez viruela. Sí, y todo el año lo mismo, todos los preventivos en la...
¿Metes la misma vacuna 3 veces?
Sí. Sí.
Y aparte.
Y todas las vacunas que compro un comercial con el ingeniero Cantón, regañón.
Con la
Pero-
farmacia independiente. Es carero cabrón, es corajudo, pero de calidad.
No, y el
Ay,
servicio. Yo hablo y me la manda él en paquetería y todo, con hielera y todo. A la hora que le diga, ahí está, y él,
Sí,
él
cierto.
sabe, ¿verdad? Pero es la base. Si no vacunan, va a haber problemas.
Ahí ellos lo pueden buscar como Farmacia Independencia Veterinaria en Facebook.
Pero es el que tiene la mejor vacuna. O sea, no estoy peleado con nadie y todo. Él me ha apoyado mucho. Pero el manejo de la vacuna es la base. A veces está mal, mal empleada, o se va la luz y les vale por echar a perder, ¿verdad? Y ahí es donde nos hemos apoyado con él.
Ahorita les voy a escribir el teléfono aquí
Ay, búsquenlo en la revista. Ahí lo tienen. Él nos ha ayudado en eso.
Está en la revista de Pide Cría y
En las dos.
Y también están como, bueno,
Y si hablan, está de malas, ya le hablan y que cuando esté de buenas.
es el teléfono de Cantón, de Farmacia Independencia, manejan las mejores vacunas
Sí, para mí sí.
y el mejor servicio también. Entonces, la vacunación es lo más importante
Sí.
para ti, la prevención.
Sí, porque si no están bien vacunados, dicen, no, pues que no me nacieron y que esto y que lo otro, empiezan a echarle la culpa a todo el mundo, a mí, a quien se los venda, pero si no hay vacuna, van a tener problemas. Y mucha gente dice, no, yo nunca he vacunado y que esto y que lo otro. No, yo pienso que es lo correcto vacunar.
Muy bien. También quiero pedir favor que por favor comparten el video, nos ayuda mucho. Nosotros también vamos a empezar a hacer un video por semana. Cada sábado va a ser el día de entrevistas. Vamos a salir fuera los sábados para ir con diferentes galleros. Tenemos a José de Vilama, que vamos a ir a visitarlo, a don Héctor de Mazatlán,
Don Héctor Inciso.
don Quilite, ¿no?
Felipe, buena persona,
Muy buena persona.
honesta.
Vamos a estar viendo con Manolo Torres. Cada sábado va a ser un día de entrevista en diferentes lugares. Y entre semana hacemos entrevistas cortas aquí en toda la ciudad. Los miércoles a lo mejor vamos a hacer una entrevista corta. Pero el sábado sí va a ser sábado de entrevistas. Vamos a publicarlo desde semanas antes. Pero es muy importante que comenten. Sus opiniones y sus comentarios son muy importantes para mí. Nos ayuda mucho. También sus comentarios en mi navaja también me ayudan mucho. Si hay una queja, yo respondo por mi nombre. Ahorita vamos a una rifa. Jaimito nos hizo favor de donar 10 gorras. Fueron 300 números. Ahí tengo los números. Fue una rifa gratis. Los primeros 10 números van a ganar una gorra cada uno. Ya publiqué la lista. Entonces el primer número es el 156, se gana una gorra. ¿Tienes la gorra para que la vean? Esta es la gorra.
Esa es la que nos dio, a la que usé cuando andamos al campeonato, por eso está toda manchada del festejo.
Pero no está usada la que le van a regalar, no crean que es nueva, autografiada por el señor Jeff. Ahí va. Segundo es el 31. Tercero, 163. Perdón. Cuarto, 28. Y yo voy a free cash.
Okay.
131. El sexto, 211. 162. 57. 122, ¿cuántos van? 3, 6, 9. El último, que te gana una gorra, es el número 4. Ahí en la lista en el Facebook están quién pertenece a cada número. También vamos a hacer una rifa en estos días de una gallina. ¿Qué me dice? ¿Un pollo?
Un pollo.
Un pollo, me hizo el favor de regalar un pollo.
Para un trabajador, no para su negocio.
Que falleció un trabajador y dejó 2 huérfanas, 2 niñas huérfanitas. Entonces vamos a hacer una rifa en estos días vamos a hacer la dinámica. Mañana, el lunes pongo la dinámica, cómo la vamos a hacer la rifa. Pero él siempre nos ha apoyado cuando causa así, la verdad.
Todo el mundo que se ocupe, para eso estamos.
Sea lo que sea.
Hay que ser agradecidos con Dios.
Sí. Es una cosa que sí que él siempre es Dios por el frente. Sobre esta la rifa, por favor comenten. Sus comentarios y sus opiniones son muy importantes, tanto como mis entrevistas, como mis navajas, como mis botanas. Los invito a que calen el nuevo filo 400 que hemos sacado. Lo hemos mejorado mucho, también un teclado muy mejorado. Y ¿algo más que quieras decir?
No, pues darle las gracias a todos los que nos han confiado en nosotros, en los que nos han comprado tríos, o una hembra, un macho, o lo que sea. Darle las gracias a todos que han tenido la confianza. Y también felicitar a una persona, a 2 personas que el año pasado también ganaron el primero y el segundo lugar en Pachuca, ahí mismo en Pachuca, a Río Negro, al licenciado Barranco, y a Humberto, el de Paredones, que ganó el segundo lugar.
¿Con animales suyos? Pues,
Sí, con animales criollos. Y con otra, también, él nos ganó una pelea con un gallo criollo, con nosotros mismos, pero es parte del negocio. Y lo felicitamos porque nos ganó. ¿Por qué no?
está bien.
¿Verdad?
Jeff, anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to add?
No, but I sure appreciate you inviting us here.
It took me a couple of years to get you down here, but
Yeah, well,
I want to thank you, Jeff. It means a lot to me that you do this for us,
okay.
and it means. Oh, I just bought a brown red stag, so he can't say no anymore.
Yeah.
No, anyway, thank you, Jeff. Y Alejandro, muchas gracias por venir.
No, gracias a ustedes que nos invitaron.
Gracias por venir y traerme aquí a Jeff. Es un placer. Pues gracias, muchos. Comenten.
¿Cuánto le falta para terminar esto?